Today I'm going to be telling you some spooky Halloween horror stories about men. But I do want to start off by saying that this is not like a hate video, okay? I don't think that all men are bad. I do think that there are more men out there that are dangerous compared to women, but I'm not trying to say like one of us is better than the other, okay? I thought it would be a fun video to do some scary stories about encounters with the XY chromosome people. This is George. He's gonna help me tell you some stories. Okay, anyways. The first story is one day when I was in college 2 years ago. I'm not that old, okay? I decided to drive to the next city over after class to just do some shopping, get some food, because that city was a little bigger than the one I lived in. It was El Paso, Texas. And I went to a smoothie shop after I did my shopping. I ordered myself a nice smoothie, and they also had food, so I ordered like a sandwich or something. I went and sat down, and there's people everywhere. And they called my name. So I walked up to the counter to get my smoothie, and there was a lot of people in the way. It was very crowded. And there was this really tall guy and like his friend that were standing near the counter. So I said, "Excuse me," and I walked past them and I grabbed my smoothie. Well, since this guy is so tall, he didn't hear me say excuse me, I guess, because he freaked out. He was like, "Do you not know how to say excuse me? Like, this bitch don't know how to say excuse me." And I said, "I did say it, you just didn't hear me." But I guess he didn't hear that either. I think he needs like hearing aids or something, because he just started like freaking out, and he pulled out his phone and he was recording me. And at that point I decided to just like ignore him, because I was like a 20-year-old, and so I thought like, if I just like don't acknowledge him, like maybe he'll just like realize that I'm better than him or something. So I just sat there like drinking my smoothie, and then he was filming me, dude, and he was yelling at the camera, and he's like, "This bitch don't know how to say excuse me," like, and I was nervous. I was shaking. I'm shaking a little right now, like thinking about it. I just sat there like, I think I was still waiting for my sandwich. I think that's why I didn't leave yet. And I was texting my friend, and I'm like, "Dude, this guy is like freaking out and yelling at me." And then he goes outside, and he starts filming me through the window. And he was like really expressive. Like he was like, "This girl, like, I hate this town," whatever he was saying. And yeah, so that was a really weird experience. It's not like I pushed him over. I just like walked around him and got my smoothie. So that was that horror story. Now we're gonna do another story about Walmart. I've had a lot of really bad encounters at Walmart. That's why I try to avoid going there. Nowadays, I go to Target. Even though it's a little more expensive, it's worth it just to not have weirdos approach me, because I don't know why, but at Target, they don't approach me. But in Walmart, there's always something weird going on. Always something. So, one time, I was dating my ex who loved to play video games. So I had just ordered this dress off Shein, and I was wearing it because, I just wanted to, wear it around, my new dress. It had like flowers on it, and it was a strappy dress. And I got ready, and I went to my ex, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to the store, like, can you come with me?" And he's like there on his video game, and he's like, "No, I'm busy." So I'm like, "Okay, well, whatever. I'll just go get the groceries myself." So I went to the Walmart, and what I So anyways, I was doing my shopping with my little shopping cart, and this guy comes up to me. He smelled kind of weird, I think. And he was like, "Hey, I just want to say you're beautiful." And I was like, "Thanks." And he was like, "Can I get your number?" And I was like, "No, I have a boyfriend, but thanks." And then he just like walked away. He didn't even say anything. And, at first it didn't really bother me. Kept doing my shopping. Went to the freezer section. I'm like, peas. Yeah, those are good. And then, like, I hear, "Excuse me." And I look over. It's the same guy. The same guy. And he's like, "Please, can I please get your number?" And I'm like, "No, I told you I have a boyfriend." And I said it mean too. I was like, "No. Like, leave me alone." I didn't say that part. I probably should have. But, yeah, that was really creepy. So, I was kind of scared, like, leaving Walmart to walk into my car. Like, I was all paranoid. Like, that is scary because I said no. And he came back and found me again and asked again. And it felt like he was following me, dude. So scary. The last horror story is another Walmart story. Yeah. So, one day, I had a dentist appointment. Actually, no, it was a glasses appointment. This was a few months ago. And, I hadn't done laundry in a while. But I did have, guess what? Another dress. I had another new dress that I wanted to wear because I was in like a really dressy mood because it was summertime. And I was like, well, I'm just going to the eye doctor, so I can dress nice if I want. Like, it's not like I'm going anywhere, so I probably won't get creeped on. It was like a leopard print dress. It did have like a v-neck and straps. It wasn't too deep cut or anything, but it was definitely not something you would wear at work. But I didn't have anything else to wear, and I'm like, you know what, screw it. So I had my eye doctor appointment, and they looked at my eyes. They were like, "Let me look at your eyes." And then they did that thing where they blast your eye with air. Anyways, so I left the appointment, and I noticed there was a Walmart nearby. I never should have noticed that, because I thought, I really need spinach. Like, I need spinach for this recipe that I'm making tomorrow, and I was gonna get it later, but there's a Walmart right there, so why don't I just go now? So I went to the Walmart. I got my spinach. I think I paid in cash because their machines were down. And I walked outside, in my dress still, my leopard print dress. And there's a man sitting outside who is probably a drug addict. Like, I think you can just tell because he was singing to himself. He's like, la 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 la. And then he sees me and he's like, "Hey, nice dress." Like, he said it literally like that. And I was like, thanks. Because, I've learned, like, you have to acknowledge them or else they freak out. I'll tell you that story next. So I said thanks, and I just kept walking. Went to my car, and then I decided to send a couple text messages in my car before I leave, which, I know is dangerous. Like, you don't want to sit in a parking lot for too long, especially in a city like the one I live in, where crime is, like, extremely rampant. Yeah, I was in my car texting, and then I hear a knock at the window, and I was like, I looked over, and it's the same guy at my window. So he saw me go into my car, and he followed me. He was like, and I looked up, and I'm like, yes. He had a little cup in his hand, and he pointed at the cup. So at first I thought he was offering me like a drink, but I think it was probably like a change cup. Yeah, I was just like, no. And then he made this sad face. He was like, and he walked away. But yeah, that was really terrifying. Like, do not follow people to their cars. That is a no-no. And I hope, like, if you are young, like you're in your 20s, you need to be careful, okay? There are some crazy people out there, So, the last story, it's just like an add-on to my story earlier, but when I was in college, another time I went to Walmart to get groceries. Yep, Walmart. And, this time, I wasn't wearing anything, like, revealing, but I walked in, and this man outside asked me if I had $1, and I was young, so I was experimenting, and I was like, maybe I just won't respond to him this time, maybe he'll leave me alone, because, I was tired of people always, begging me for money when I go into the store. Like, I'm a college kid, what do you expect? So I just ignored him, and I kept walking, and he was like, excuse me, and then he started cursing me out, and he was like, you think you can just ignore me, like, you think you're better than me, like this and that, you stupid bitch. Yeah. And like, I was shaking as I walked in, like, past the security guards. I'm like, oh my god, today's gonna be the day that I get stabbed to death. So then I remembered, never ignore them, just acknowledge them and say, no, I don't have anything, usually you're fine. But yeah, so those are the scary stories about men. Hopefully you learned something, or maybe got a little chill down your spine, like I did. And just want to remind you again, men are not bad. Well, not all of them, but some of them are very bad. So just make sure to use your best judgment. Don't trust anybody right away, okay? Don't do that. And, I had something else I was gonna say. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I was gonna say there are some good men out there. I think there are. I don't know if that's true, because I've had men literally tell me, like my ex-boyfriends and some other people, they were like, just so you know, like, all men are evil. Like, all of us, all we want is to kill people and hurt them, and some of us are just better at pretending that we don't. Is that true? But that's why you cannot be too trusting. It is kind of weird that my ex said that, huh? He was like really into war, like he was in the military. So yeah. But it could just be that certain men think that way, and then other ones are normal. I think that's probably the case. But let me know what you think. Okay, happy Halloween!